I guess it was the first like proper cattle call type tryout where they got people from all around Australia to actually come and do a 2 day thing. Typically, a tryout in Australia had been a handful of people who, before one of the SmackDown house show tours, would come backstage, maybe work a match for an agent, but that was it. But this was
Yeah.
like a proper deal. So we started to hear rumors of it mid 2014. So we started hearing rumors early in 2014, and I got contacted by Tennille Dashwood, who was an old friend of mine from the Melbourne scene. She just said, "Hey, I can send you stuff through. They're going to run a tryout. I think you'd be good for it, whatever." And fortunately, that got me into this 40-person tryout that we did. So that was a Rod Laver in Melbourne. We did 2 days of just cardio and death drills and all the rest. And at the end, at the end of 2 days, we had a show in Adelaide, I think on the third or fourth day. So we had a Wrestle Rampage show, like a Sunday. It was like a Sunday afternoon show, purely so that the agents could come and watch us. So we had Canyon Seaman, who used to be the head of talent, and Bill DeMott. And this is before, like, I think they'd only just started going to indie shows. It wasn't a common thing because indie
Yeah.
guys weren't really getting scouted. So they actually came a couple of days later to our Adelaide show. And we just said, all right, we're going to do everything we can to put eyes on our product. So I wrestled Jonah in the main event, which was really cool. Similar situation to where I am now. Like I was sick as hell with the flu, but we had a match that seemed to open some eyes. They seemed really happy with it, and they said we want to keep in touch with you guys. No one, I think the only people are so Jess McKay and Casey Cassidy, Peyton Royce. I can't remember what she goes as now, but they were the only two who got signed from that tryout. But there was still a handful of us who they wanted to keep in contact with. So over the next like year or so, just regular contact, always sending matches through, always getting really positive feedback, and always kind of being told, we don't have anything for you now, but we're hoping something will arise in the future. But that's kind of it. And then it got about, I guess, close to 18 months after this, at which point I just said, all right, that's it. Like, nothing's happening. I thought there might be like a Tough Enough series or something. There'd been rumors of that. Nothing's happening. I need to just kind of like kick that door down. So I ended up emailing Canyon and I just said, hey, like, I want to do another tryout. Like, I'll fly myself over there. Can you give me a tryout at the Performance Center or something? And he was straight away, yep, sounds great. Let's do that. I couldn't do the Performance Center tryout because it clashed with an overseas tour I had. But he said, why don't you come and do the Arnold Classic? He said, we've got NXT doing a week of house show and a week of house show, and then I think 2 days at the Classic where they do wrestling matches all day. He said,
Yeah.
I can get you dark match. I might be able to get you dark matches on the tour, and then we're running a like a little bit of a modified tryout at the house show. And he said it's not much of a tryout. It's kind of a bit of a quick thing at intermission, but at least you'll get to meet the crew and get in front of the right eyes. So I said, hell yeah, like I'll do it straight away. So I flew myself over there. I put myself in debt, maxed out the credit card because I just had to give it one last shot. I was, I think, 29 at the time, and I just thought, if I don't get it now, I'm going to hit that imaginary 30 barrier, and then it's done. So I went over there. He was right. The tryout wasn't really much of a tryout. It was like an hour at intermission where we just did a few squats and drills, and that was that. But it was cool. I got to meet all the crew. I got to hang out with them for a week, do the house show loop with them. I didn't get to wrestle the dark match, but still being in front of those eyes and talking to those people seemed to
100.
be the right thing to do, because straight after that is when they said, we want you for the Cruiserweight Classic. And that was that was June or July of 2016. The tryout was February 2016. So I had a few months where I knew I had to keep it all hush hush, of course.
Going into that tryout, was there much like said? Like, were they saying, "Hey, like this is where we envision you in the tryout," or was it saying, "Hey, we're going to bring you in. You're going to be in the first round, but not the second," or like what was explained to you going into that?
Into the Classic, into the
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah,
So at the I knew nothing of I'd heard like there was a global cruiserweight series that was trademarked or something like reading all the dirt sheets, hearing this stuff. And I thought, oh, geez, maybe that's what they want me for. Who knows? But then when I got there, that's when Canyon, he pulled me aside and kind of put me in a room with William Regal. And then they said, hey, here's the deal. We're doing this tournament. There's going to be like 32 guys. You have to be under 205 pounds, which they didn't believe that I was, even though I've never been over. They said, if you are, you'll get cut, but we want you for it. The only thing I was told is we have a lot of Australians at the moment in NXT. I think there was Shane and Mikey had just got signed. Buddy Murphy was in NXT at the time, and then you had Jess and Cass. So they said a lot of Aussies, don't get your hopes up, but we think you might get to the second round, you might progress, but you probably won't win it. That's kind of like all I was given, and for me, like I expected first round and I'm out, which obviously was the case. But for them to say you might actually go further, a lot of it was just positive. Like a lot of it was, it didn't seem like empty promises.
No.
And you never know what's actually been said, what they know, what they don't know, what they're allowed to say. So like they might have actually had their eye on me and thought I could do well. Who knows? But yeah, at the time it was, this is a one and done or a two and done. Just do what you can to steal the show and get your head seen and get noticed. I guess that was kind of my attitude, and I was treating it like a last ditch effort. That was like chip on my shoulder. Not that I was like mad at anyone or anything, but for me it was all right. I've done all this for so long. I've put myself in debt to put myself in front of them again. I've been told things that haven't happened. Like I'm just going to go out there and do everything I can, and that's kind of where we landed when it got time for the actual tournament.
And following that tournament, like what was the feedback after that?
It was all positive, honestly. When there wasn't much. Like I got backstage and we all had agents, and I had Cesaro, which was really cool because I'd wrestled him before, so there was a bit of a connection there. And he was really, really good to work under. So he gave me a bit of feedback. There were others that I spoke to. Like I tried to ask as many people as I could if they could give me feedback, and everything was positive. Like there really wasn't any negative at all. Even from the talent scouts at the time, they were all positive. But like I've seen so many times with friends, you can be promised the world and it doesn't necessarily happen. And why? Who knows? If you think too much about why, you're going to kick yourself the rest of your life. All I know is, told me I did my job well. I did everything they asked of me. They said I was professional, etc., etc. And they said might be further opportunities, but we'll see. And that's kind of where it left off. I stayed in touch with them over the next year or two. I did get another look in, a little bit of a private tryout right before COVID, actually, the end of 2019. Had a Melbourne look in, which is just a little match at the MCW Academy that they had talent scouts come and look at as well. That was actually the first time I got real specific feedback, because throughout the two tryouts, the Cruiserweight Classic, everything was just always positive and always, maybe we might sign you, we might do this, might do that. And then when it got to that tryout, it seemed like pretty positive after the tryout again. But then I got here's everything we think about you. Here's every reason why we're not going to sign you. And it was nothing major. It was simple stuff that I thought, yep, that's fair enough. And it was just all about the mold we're looking for right now is not what you're fitting, or we have too many people who wrestle the same style, too many people who look like you, whatever it is. It tended to just be a lot of aesthetic stuff. There's just too many people who look the same as you. But take it or leave it. To me, I was just happy that I did everything they asked of me. I put myself in front of the right eyes. I didn't let myself down in any way, and I don't really have any regrets. So even when I got that final bit of, look, sorry, we're not going to sign you, to be honest, it was a weight off my shoulder, because it was like, all right, cool. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't pissed anyone off. Yeah. I've done it all right. It's just wrong place, wrong time. And you can kind of go two ways in that situation. You can either change everything, like they said, change everything about you, maybe you'll get signed, maybe you won't, or you can be true to yourself, keep enjoying what you're doing, and just have fun wrestling. And I kind of took that second path. And for me, like I, I, I not that I wouldn't change myself. Like if I was asked to do a certain thing, like, I'm more than willing to accommodate different things. But to just be told like, yeah, you kind of just look like everyone else. I'm not gonna give myself a mohawk and like completely change everything about myself just for the
No,
odd chance that I might impress someone. So for me, I'm all too happy being myself, wrestling the way I want, and the way I see it. If being authentic means I'm going to have a happier life, enjoy what I'm doing, I'm going to have a better chance of getting signed because people are going to see that, and that's going to look more real. That's going to look like that's organic. And when you watch wrestlers, you can see when they're being fake. You can see when they're really having fun and being themselves. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I'm not whatever happened. I'm happy with the journey. Happy where I've landed.
dude, like a lot of people never even get that opportunity, man, and to go
Of
there
course,
and to
yeah.
get in front of those eyes and to have that, that opportunity to wrestle, in a tournament which brought in some of the top names around the world for this tournament. Like I was blown away with some of the names they brought into it, and honestly, a great opportunity. A bit disappointing, and that they gave you that as a reason